it's grippy, grippy, grippy. Join me in a Seat Cupra, or is it just a Cupra? For the purposes of this test drive, I'm going to call this the Cupra Ateca, which I think is right. But I've wanted to drive one of these for a little while because I think it's a very interesting proposition that the team at Seat have put together. They've spun off Cupra as their own distinctive brand. So Cupra used to be, as you may well know, the hardcore racing division or arm of Seat. But now you can buy a Cupra on its own. And this is pretty much their first foray as Cupra. So this is meant to be absolutely hot stuff. It's pretty pricey for what from the outside looks like a Seat on steroids. It's around about £40,000 with all the options, maybe just a smidge over actually on this particular model. And what do you get for that? Well, you get a beefy turbocharged unit in the front. It's covered in Alcantara feel on the seats and stuff, which make it feel that little bit sporty. This one's got the panoramic roof that I haven't opened because it's 1,000 degrees today, and I just feel like it would absolutely burn through this cabin. The sporty paddles behind the steering wheel. You've got this very cool Cupra logo staring at you from the steering wheel. The ride is firm, but not uncomfortable. It's certainly, I'd actually describe it as sporty. It feels sporty, which is a good thing because this is aimed at people that want practicality and something a little bit hot, which this offers. It's spacious, there's many seats, there's a big old boot to whack anything you like in, lawnmowers, a bag of sought after pebbles, multiple sheep, a business rival. But if you're going to start selling a performance car for the best part of £40,000, it needs to be quick, and it needs to be agile, and it needs to feel sporty. So let's give it the beans. You don't hear a lot of it through the cabin. It's a very serene setup in here. You don't feel too high up, which is actually quite nice. I mean, this is kind of an SUV crossover, but you're not too high up off the ground, which I've got to say is actually quite nice, because one of the components of sportiness is feeling like your backside is pretty close to the tarmac, and though it's fairly obvious that it isn't, it does a good job of pretending that you might be. Steering is accurate. In fact, the steering is very, very pinpoint. I will give it that. Braking is good, and it's dealing with these twisting roads quite well. In fact, it feels very, very, very planted. Let's see. I'm taking an M2 Competizione on here. Hit the corner, hit the corner, hit the corner, hit the corner. Oh, it's grippy, grippy, grippy. Woo! Let him go. Let him go. It's actually a very surprising car. It has taken me genuinely by surprise. I didn't expect it to be this sporty and this well thought out. I don't know why. I've driven Seat performance vehicles before. It just, I don't know. It's taken me by surprise, and in a really positive way. By Cupra deciding to enter into this market, it is a very bold and a very brave move. Because the segment is so crowded, whenever you release a car like this, it has to be good. And it doesn't disappoint, you know. That sporty feel that Seats enjoy traditionally comes through. Seat, and as an extension of that Cupra, were always the Volkswagen Group's kind of hotter, more sporty arm. And so releasing Cupra as a standalone brand, that's really giving yourself a very, very high bar. A very, very high bar indeed. And when I heard that they were releasing Cupra as a brand on their own, I was intrigued. Does it feel like a £40,000 car? Bits of it do, bits of it don't. The engineering that make it go quickly and make it feel sporty and planted, actually, yeah, it does. It feels like it's worth that money. There are bits of the finish, however, oh, went a bit quick there. There are bits of the finish, however, that do let it down. The bits of plastics that you feel cheap. And one of the major disappointments for me are the paddles located behind the steering wheel. They feel cheap. They feel cheap, and paddles, they've got to feel like an event, because paddles are cool. Paddles mean F1. Paddles mean sports and performance. And they feel cheap. I'm sorry, Cupra. They feel cheap. Weirdly, I really, really like the Cupra brand. And by that, I literally mean the brand of Cupra. The design of their logo is super cool. Like, genuinely, really very cool. The key part of owning and driving a car that excites you is the aesthetics when you get behind the wheel or when you look at it in your driveway. And that, I must say, Cupra have done very well with the steering wheel and with the badge itself. Like, literally. It looks really, really good. I'll tell you what though, if you're driving this after lunch with a full stomach over winding, bobbly roads as I am, the fact that you are sat that little bit higher up and that the suspension doesn't have that much give, and you do, in a car like this with this kind of power and performance, have the option to be a little bit throttle happy, yeah, there's a good chance you're going to make yourself feel a little bit nauseous. I'm glad I'm slowing down a bit. So overall, what do I think of the Seat Cupra? Said it again. Overall, what do I think of the Cupra Ateca? I quite like it. It's a very interesting option in a world of other options. Would I rush out and buy one? Not me personally. Can I see the appeal? Absolutely. Have Cupra done a good job? Yes, I can categorically say they've done a good job. And that makes me happy, because you want challengers in the car market. You want brands that are doing things a little bit differently. And yeah, fair enough. Oh, it's just a Seat with an amazing engine, or oh, it's just a Seat with a funky badge and a little bit more power. Okay, fair enough, but I like it.